Before we start this retro review, I wanted to give a quick little PSA. Um, this retro was recorded legitimately hours before Bray Wyatt's announced passing. We didn't have a single clue. So if there's any criticism of Bray Wyatt and his House of Horrors match, we didn't know the circumstances prior to that. And nor would we have. I don't think any of us blame Bray Wyatt anyway. I think we were all aware that this was kind of hindered creatively for the guy. So all the criticisms I think are directed towards creative. So that way people understand to not get too riled up about whatever we say here on this show. Again, we recorded this because it was a payback retro. It wasn't because we were trying to, do a Bray Wyatt tribute. That will, however, be coming next week in the light of the news. So there will be a Bray Wyatt tribute retro upcoming on this channel. Bash at the Beach, as a result of that, obviously because of everything going on, that will be saved for the day after Labor Day from the looks of things. Owen and I are going to be recording that Monday, as opposed to doing it this week because of everything going on with Bray. So, and Wrestling with Idiocy on my channel, or not necessarily my channel, but Casey's channel. Because we both run that show. We were originally going to do AEW moments. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a double feature. I don't know how long the hell him and I are going to go for. But essentially we are going to be doing a podcast in memoriam of Bray Wyatt for the first hour and a half, and the second one for AEW moments, second hour and a half, however long it goes. So that will be next week during All Out Week. So we wanted to get that done before all in, but I think right now there are more important fish to fry. So that's all the schedule changes, obviously, with the news of Bray's passing. And I guess I'll give my thoughts quickly. And I'll read something that I wrote because I think this better encapsulates my appreciation for the man known as Wyndham Rotunda and Bray Wyatt, the character. So I'm going to just read that. This is something you can find on my Twitter at jhebertside95. I remember when Bray cut one of his early promos and how amazing of a lyricist he was on the mic with his words. He took the Raven-esque type gimmick and took it to levels I've never seen before. He was such an extraordinary talent and one hell of a talent. One of a kind that should have had the whole world in his hands, no pun intended. I'm just glad that he's a two-time world champion in the WWE in his lifetime. R.I.P. Bray. You will be missed. On to the retro.
Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan scratch it. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it.
What you know about classic music?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Retro Wrestling Review Series. I'm Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm here with
Chris.
And today we're doing Payback 2017. I picked this retro because by the time you see this is being recorded the week before Payback. But by the time this goes out, this Saturday is Payback. Can you believe that we already have another pay-per-view coming up? It just feels like not that long ago SummerSlam happened. Now we already have another pay-per-view coming up. So it's crazy stuff going on in the world of wrestling. So
It's pretty wild.
by the time people see this, there's gonna be all these shows that happen. There's gonna be all out, no, all in, and then this week is I think it's NWA 75 nights 1 and 2, and which will suck. You just know for a fact they're gonna suck. Impact Sacrifice. I think Impact TV show would have had the 1,000th episode, or at least taped it by then. I don't know how that's gonna work. And then we're gonna have Payback, and then we're gonna have All Out, and then I feel like poor people that sit down and watch all that stuff, their heads are probably gonna fucking explode after All Out. The very second All Out ends, people are just gonna be on the floor being like, wrestling's over. They don't even know they're not gonna know what life is anymore, type of thing.
They will never.
I feel like, too, you're only watching one of these shows. You're only going to be watching Payback. You're not watching anything else.
No, that's exactly. Just watching Payback, baby.
So, I picked this show because when it comes to Payback, there's not a lot of Paybacks you can really choose from. There's good ones, but there's not, significant ones. The significant one I think we would have picked would have been 2020, but we already did that one. But this one's fairly significant for one match that's on here. And we'll get to that match when we get there. But unfortunately, the one match is bad. I don't know if you watch this show. What sucks about this is the show itself is actually not that bad. But just that one match really is the thing that people remember from this show pretty much. So let's just get to talking about it. If you want to know what the state of wrestling was like at the time, go watch the Superstar Shake-Up episode of SmackDown from 2017 because that we did as a retro, because that's basically kind of what the state was in wrestling. Really nothing changed up to that point. So there's really nothing more that we can say. They just did pretty much the full-on Superstar Shake-Up. And it's really weird how the show was built up because WWE had a tendency to do this a lot during the drafts and stuff like that. They would book matches, but then the Superstar Shake-Up would happen. So then they'd be like, oh, we didn't realize the Superstar Shake-Up was going to happen. So these matches are going to happen now no matter what. So it's just really weird. Like, 2 of the matches that happened on this show, I think is a Raw guy versus a SmackDown guy. Because they're like, well, this match was booked before the Superstar Shake-Up. We have to do the match now. Because Vince, he doesn't like to false advertise stuff. So, so he basically put himself in a position where he'd have to do that. So let's just start talking about the show. We had the kickoff. We had the panel of Renee Young, Jerry the King Lawler, and Sam Roberts. It's always weird to see Sam Roberts with his hair because you're so used to seeing him bald now and all that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He looked like a young boy here. He looked like and the panel was pretty decent. Jerry the King Lawler said some weird stuff. He talked about how he was looking forward to seeing what the House of Horrors match was going to be like. They went so long, they didn't even break down the Cruiserweight Championship match. They didn't even tell you that match was going to happen. So that just shows you what WWE thought of the Cruiserweight division at the time. Like when they about to break down that match, Jerry the King Lawler was just like, we didn't really get to talk about this match or get predictions for it, but this match is happening. So they completely forgot to break down the Cruiserweight Championship match and what was going on there. It was just kind of weird. So we had the commentary team, and this was a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, by the way. So only guys from Raw supposedly competed on here, but obviously because there was a Superstar Shake-Up, we had a couple of SmackDown guys on here. But the Raw commentary team was Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Booker T. They actually weren't too bad. Booker T was actually decent. He didn't say anything outlandish or anything like that, so that's good. He still wasn't very good, though, but he wasn't saying anything out of the ordinary type of thing. So that's good stuff. And going through the numbers real quick of Payback. I remember, too, we reviewed this on the Aftershock Corner, by the way, too, in real time after it happened. So,
We did a lot of these pay-per-views in real time.
Yeah, we did. The show, the brand was Raw. It was a Raw exclusive WWE Network event. The date of this show was April 30th, 2017. The city was San Jose, California. The venue was the SAP Center, which is still known as that venue to this very day. The attendance was 13,694 people. So there you go. And it kicked off. Sasha Banks did interview. She broke down the Raw Women's Championship match, which was going to be between Alexa Bliss and Bayley. And she talks about her support for Bayley. And Sam Roberts tried asking her if she's going to interfere in the match. Like, where are you going to be watching this matchup from and all that type of stuff. And Sasha Banks took offense to that and says, are you saying that Bayley can't get the job done herself? And there's a reason you asked this question, because if you remember, that Sasha Banks did this a lot during Bayley's Raw Women's title reign. If you remember at Fastlane, she interfered in the fucking match and it wasn't a DQ for some reason.
Yes, I remember that. That was terrible.
Yeah. And then she basically buried Alexa Bliss, because as you know, this was at that time where it was very much heavily reported they had backstage heat with each other. So they asked, Jerry the King Lawler tried asking what it was like, for Alexa Bliss to be in the Raw locker room. And so Banks is just like, I don't know. She doesn't hang out in my locker room, so I don't know. I couldn't tell you what she's like. So Jerry the King Lawler basically got shut down after that question. So, yeah, poor Jerry Lawler. Yeah, it was scary. It was kind of scary. And then we had the first match on the kickoff. It was Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Luke Gallows and Kyle Anderson. They had feuds going on back and forth. They feuded for the Raw Tag Team titles. They were in the ladder match at WrestleMania 33. And Enzo Amore was supposed to be in a six-man tag team match on the Go Home episode of Raw, but Gallows and Anderson took him out, so he wasn't able to be in the match. So that's why this match is happening. Enzo and Big Cass do their entrance that they would be very well known for in NXT and everything like that. And then they cut a promo. Enzo Amore was talking. They mentioned they talked about a bunch of Chinese places and made a bunch of Chinese food references and said that they're gonna beat the crap pretty much out of Luke Gallows and Kyle Anderson. And the match starts off. Enzo and Cass get the advantage early, but then eventually Gallows and Anderson get the heat. They hit a front suplex, sending Enzo ribs first into the ropes, and they just beat the crap out of Enzo Amore for a while. They just completely destroy him. There's a bit, by the way, where it looks like he made a tag, but the ref didn't know what to do because, he clearly wasn't supposed to get the tag. I think something got messed up or something like that. So they just said, ref had to just be like, yep, not a tag, he ain't legal. Big Cass was really confused, and it wasn't one of those things where they tried to work it where it was part of the match. You could definitely tell something got messed up there. Like, I think Enzo wasn't supposed to actually make the tag, but somebody missed their cue or something. But eventually Big Cass gets the hot tag. He goes off on Gallows and Anderson. Eventually, he gets taken down. He misses a splash in the corner, and then Gallows and Anderson throw him shoulder first into the post. And for some strange reason, Enzo tagged back in, even though he was out on his feet, which really didn't make sense. But it's Enzo. Nothing that he does make sense. And then, he tries to do a dive, but he fails. And then eventually they go for the match. Gallows and Anderson go for the Magic Killer. Big Cass runs in. He lays out Cass with a big boot, clotheslines him out of the ring, and Enzo gets a roll-up victory on Luke Gallows. And, Enzo and Cass win the match. This match was 2 stars. It was a typical kickoff match. If realistically could have just done this match on Raw, I don't think anybody would have complained. I think this is when Gallows and Anderson's stock goes way down in the company. It was already pretty down, but this was right after they lost the Raw Tag Team titles. They lost their rematch, and they just really weren't given much to do after this. They were pretty much. I think they would just form the club and everything like that, but nothing really came of it. And then obviously they eventually got released and all that type of stuff. But what did you think of this match right here and all that type of stuff?
Typical kickoff match. It's like 2 stars. Like, it's okay. Nothing special. Nothing to write home about.
And we done career retrospective on both guys, so we don't need to do it again. And then, we've done career retrospectives on everyone that was on the panel and everyone that's done commentaries on this show. So there you go. then the Hardy Boys are backstage, and the Hardys are talking strategy about what they're going to do in the match against Sheamus and Cesaro tonight. And then the Golden Truth come up, and the Golden Truth talk about how happy they are to see the Hardy Boys back in WWE. R-Truth talked about how he used to be a big fan of them growing up, which is hilarious because R-Truth was in the company while they were there, so that was pretty funny. But, it's R-Truth. He doesn't know where he is anymore. Goldust talks about how after they recover from the injuries of the beatdown that they received from Braun Strowman, they're going to go to Kurt Angle, and they're going to request to face the winners of whoever wins the Raw Tag Team title match. And obviously there was a lot of references here because this was right after the Hardys came back to WWE, so they would make a lot of references to the broken gimmick, but they wouldn't actually do the broken gimmick, so they would, it was basically for the hardcore fans and all that type of stuff. So decent backstage segment here. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I liked it. Teasing a lot about the broken gimmick. It didn't come to fruition until like a while down the road.
Yeah, because they had one. There was a couple reasons. One, Anthem owned the gimmick, so they had to kind of work that out. And WWE, because if you think about it too, I think we talked about this. WWE didn't want to have Matt and Jeff come back as the broken gimmick because it wasn't done on a big scale like this before. So I don't think anyone would have really translated to it very well, type of thing. I think they wanted to see the Hardy Boys first, so I thought WWE had the right approach. When it came to that, it just once the gimmick kind of starts to happen, unfortunately, doesn't really work out. But we'll talk about that later. Do you think WWE had the right approach with how they brought back the Hardys type of thing?
Yeah, it should have been the nostalgic Hardy gimmick with Loaded by Zach Tempest. So I think they did the right thing. But yeah, that's the proper approach, and eventually they did the broken gimmick.
And then they had the social media lounge. Remember these days when they had the social media lounge? They don't have that anymore. It was hosted by Charlie Caruso, and she interviews Sheamus and Cesaro. She asks about and Sheamus and Cesaro perform their theme song where it was a reference to the night after WrestleMania where they do da 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 Sheamus and Cesaro type of thing. So they reference that. Charlie Caruso asked them if they have a strategy going into the Raw Tag Team title match tonight, and Sheamus is just like, yeah, we don't have a strategy. We have to start working on a strategy. And Cesaro was upset about this because he just basically gave away the fact that they didn't have a strategy type of thing. And Cesaro was just like, yeah, just gonna give away the fact we don't have a strategy because this was still kind of like when they were, even though they were starting to develop, they were still kind of a thrown together tag team, so they hadn't fully developed as a tag team yet. So they get asked some questions. They get asked how they feel about the Hardy Boys being back, and they say that they're happy that they're back. They're happy that the Hardy Boys are back, but this isn't about the future. This is about the now, and they're the future. They get asked a question about who they think the better athlete is, Sheamus or Cesaro, and they get offended by that because they're supposed to be a tag team, they're supposed to be equals, and people are asking questions like that. They thought the Hardy Boys sent that question, but that was not the case. Someone called them Shizaro, and they were trying to mix up their names, and they completely misspelled it. Cesaro pointed that out, and then eventually Sheamus and Cesaro just finally lost it. They didn't like the set of the social media lounge. They thought it looked like an absolute joke. And they said that, that they just want to focus on their Raw Tag title match instead of having to do stuff like that. So even though you didn't know, this was kind of a hint that they were going heel later in the night because they acted very heelish during this social media lounge interview. So
Being rude.
Yeah, what did you think of this?
Fucking rude. No wonder why they don't do the social media lounge anymore. Because everyone's just rude.
I know, yeah. I think my favorite one is the one that Kevin Owens and Jericho did when they were just ragging on Tom Phillips the whole time and all that type of stuff.
That was the best one.
Yeah. Then we had... Oh, did you give your star rating, by the way, for the Enzo and Cass, Luke Gallows, and Kyle Anderson match? Okay. I forget. Okay. Then we had Miz TV with Finn Balor. The Miz had just gotten drafted from SmackDown to Raw. This was right after he had that really great IC title run and everything like that. And Finn Balor had just come back, so they wanted to get him on the show somehow, and they just did Miz TV. Yeah, the Miz brings out Finn Balor. Finn Balor comes out, And he wants to know if him and Maurice can join Balor Club. And he said that Finn Balor says, well, he's going to ask Balor Club. And everybody boos. They cheered for Maurice, though, so they wanted her in it, but they didn't want The Miz in it. And Finn Balor says, yeah, we're going to have to take a hard pass on that. The fans don't want this. So poor Miz, he can't even join Balor Club. And The Miz wants to do, like, he talked about how Finn Balor had all of these accomplishments in his wrestling career, but yet he was caught up to all this fanfare because he was like a first-round draft pick, and yet he... he's been a failure so far. How do you feel about that? And Finn Balor's just like, is it a failure because I still won the Universal Championship with a torn pec? So like Finn Balor basically was just ragging on The Miz right there because The Miz didn't even mention that. He kind of left that out. Finn Balor talks about how he's gonna get his title back, and The Miz is just like, you do realize who the Universal Champion is, right? It's Brock Lesnar, and and he talked about how Brock Lesnar is much more imposing than Finn Balor is, and Finn Balor is just like, I've dealt with bigger obstacles before and all that type of stuff. And then The Miz talks about how Finn Balor needs to start wrestling smarter versus harder. He talks about how The Miz basically took SmackDown. He made Talking Smack his own thing and all that type of stuff. And Finn Balor just says that he's just getting started on Raw. And basically, Finn Balor challenges The Miz to a fight. And The Miz puts Maurice in front of him to, so that way Finn Balor wouldn't strike him. And Finn Balor's just like, you know what, I'm going to be the bigger man here. I'm going to walk away. And The Miz takes offense that Finn Balor walked away. So The Miz starts ragging on him, and Finn Balor lays him out with a Slim Blade, followed by a Wushu dropkick into the corner, and Finn Balor just leaves. This segment was pretty good. You could have just done this on Raw, though. I don't think it needed to be on a pay-per-view. This was still good stuff, because this is right before they start fucking up Finn Balor. Like, Finn Balor was still used relatively well at this time, so it seemed decent. What did you think of this overall?
I thought it was a good Miz TV segment, and they played off each other really well. They had a bunch of feuds, over the next few years, and going. I think it was it this year that they went into Mania season, or the following year they went to Mania season feuding with Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title.
You are correct. So there's that. Then we had the show. We had the same people on commentary. Booker T, by the way, because the commentary table was right up on the stage. And Booker T did not expect the pyro. Michael Cole even called it out like, yeah, I bet you didn't expect that pyro. And Booker T's like, I thought it was going to die. He doesn't say this, but he said he thought his life flashed before his eyes. He did not expect that pyro to be there and all that type of stuff. It was really funny. So there's your one Booker T weird line of the night right there. He always has one when he's on commentary. So
always one.
Yeah. And then we had we had some other commentators there. We had the Spanish commentators. It was Carlos Cabrera, Marcelo Rodriguez. I think we've done career retrospectives on them before. The German announced team was Carsten Schaffner, who actually he's got his own Wikipedia page. That's good for him. I think he's still there to this very day, and he's done a few acting gigs and all that type of stuff. So that's cool. Unfortunately, it says here the day before Money in the Bank 2018 he suffered a heart attack, so that's not good. I think he's fine now, so that's good. At least he's okay. So
He didn't die.
yeah, and then we had the Japanese announced team was I think it was Funaki and was it Shomano Yamaguchi? I think that's that guy's name. So and then we had the Hindi team. I mentioned that just because like they were about to expand in the Indian market, so that's the first time I think they'd really like pointed them out and all that type of stuff. And Corey Graves says he would have rather gone up there and commentated with them versus being with Michael Cole and Corey Graves. So that was versus me and with Michael Cole and Booker T. So that was kind of rude. And then Booker T, by the way, as you remember, was only supposed to be a temporary commentator on Raw. He was filling in for David Otunga because he had an acting gig. But David Otunga was just never brought back on the commentary booth. They just left Booker T until Jonathan Coachman takes over. So that's pretty funny how that happened. So we had the ring announcer was JoJo. I think we've done a career retrospective on her before. The referees were John Cone, Derek Moore, Chad Patton, and Rod Zapata. I think Rob Zapata is still there to this very day, so there you go. The backstage interviewer was Charlie Caruso. I don't think they do many backstage interviewers, so I don't know. I don't know why they felt the need to tell us that, but whatever. And yeah, we had the intro where they talked about how everybody was looking for Payback. It was a really good intro. And we had the opening match. It was a brand versus brand interpromotional match for the United States Championship. It's Monday Night Raw's Chris Jericho challenging SmackDown's Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. And the reason for this match was because they feuded, all year. They were the best of friends last year. They were a tag team. And obviously we were waiting for the moment where Kevin Owens, because we knew it was always going to be Kevin Owens, was going to turn on Chris Jericho. Then we had the Festival of Friendship, which was like the best segment on Raw and on all of professional wrestling in 2017, where Kevin Owens completely wiped out Chris Jericho and finally turned on him. And they stupidly didn't make that match for the Universal title, and that was about to bite them in the ass literally later that year. And then really bite them in the ass a couple years later. And Jericho during that time, when he was friends with Kevin Owens, won the U.S. title. So Kevin Owens and Jericho fought for the United States Championship at WrestleMania, where Kevin Owens would go on to beat Jericho for the United States Championship. And then Jericho invoked his rematch clause. And since the match was already booked pre-Superstar Shakeup before Kevin Owens went over to SmackDown, the caveat here was if Jericho won, he would be transferred to SmackDown along with the United States Championship, which, what a waste of a fucking Superstar Shakeup, by the way. Imagine, good thing they didn't do the draft. It was just Superstar Shakeup. Imagine drafting somebody and then like, oh shit. Why would Kurt Angle even agree to this, by the way, to be like, yep, okay, you can have Chris Jericho, by the way, if he wins the title type of thing. Like, wouldn't Kurt Angle want him to lose? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Yeah. Like, what did you think of that stipulation? Because that stipulation really doesn't make sense.
It's just an odd stipulation to have.
Because obviously the reason they did this is they didn't want to have both mid-card belts on, the same show. But again, this is an example where just Vince booked shit on the fly. He booked this fucking match, and then he drafted Kevin Owens to SmackDown and was like, shit, I already advertised this match. Well, we'll just do the match anyways, type of thing. And there's this moment where, Vince kind of doesn't follow the brand split rules. A fucking SmackDown guys competing on a Raw pay-per-view type of thing. It's like, come on, man.
You love that.
Yeah. But yeah, going through the match, Kevin Owens tries to take a breather at first to try to, play mind games with Chris Jericho, but it doesn't last very long. Jericho came out, too, with a light-up scarf, by the way, because this was when he was doing the light-up. I think he stopped doing the light-up jacket gimmick long before this, but he was doing light-up scarf because this was when he was very much into that gimmick, where he was doing the scarf gimmick. He had various gimmicks at this time, so. And Jericho beats up Kevin Owens. He attacks him. He bounces him headfirst off the table, hits a back suplex onto the table, and yeah, he just destroys Kevin Owens. And he really beats him up. He hits he goes to lock him into the walls, but Owens escapes. He hits a flying axe handle to Owens on the outside. He goes for the Jericho style drop kick, but Kevin Owens sends him face first into the post, and the post LED post, so they don't have a very much effect, but they still fairly hurt. Then Kevin Owens throws him into the barricade. He hits a cannonball into the barricade, and then Kevin Owens hits a vicious senton onto Jericho. He takes over the match. He really dominates. Eventually, Jericho starts to mount a comeback. He does hit the Jericho style drop kick, and then he hits a dive onto the outside. He hits a Lionsault, but Owens kicks out of it. And then Owens hits a super kick on Jericho. And then he hits a second one, but Jericho kicks out of that, and then eventually Jericho locks the walls of Jericho in onto Kevin Owens. And Owens is just able to save himself. He gets one finger onto the bottom rope, and this pisses off Jericho. He attacks the finger of Kevin Owens. He traps his arm into the steps, and Jericho stomps on it. And then Owens is able to get to a thumb in the eye, and he hits a super kick. He tries to go for the pop-up powerbomb, but he's unable to hit it due to the injury by his hand. And this allows Jericho to turn it into a Walls of Jericho. And Owens tries to get to the ropes. He's unable to really get there due to his hand. He nearly gets there, but Jericho pulls him back. And then eventually Kevin Owens taps out. And Chris Jericho, regains the United States Championship. And now he's a SmackDown superstar. It's really funny to go back because they talked about how Corey Graves... It's that typical WWE stuff where they talk about this could be Jericho's last match on Raw as a Raw superstar. And, at the time, you're thinking, there's no way it's going to be. He's going to get drafted. But if you think about it, this was Jericho's last match as a Raw superstar because every other time he wrestled on SmackDown when he showed up. I mean, he did make one more Raw appearance on the, was it the 25th anniversary of Raw? So overall, I thought this match was really good. I give it 3.5 stars. I don't get why Jericho won. It really didn't make sense. I remember this was a big debate that you and John Tuddy had with each other because you were fine with this because it was unpredictable and John Tuddy didn't understand it. And I think I sided with John Tuddy. But then you see what happens on SmackDown when Owens just fucking regains the belt and wipes him out anyways. It's like, well, why didn't you just do that here? It didn't make any sense. Why did you fucking book this match the way you did if you were just gonna write Jericho off anyways? Like, what was the point of that? I didn't get that at all. It just really didn't make any sense. It also made Owens look fucking weak.
It did.
Because one, he's not a guy that really should tap out and all that type of stuff. And this was right after he got squashed by Goldberg and right after he got demoted to the U.S. title. And there were reports coming out there that Vince wasn't a big fan of Kevin Owens around this time because he was having him, if you remember, wear suits because he wanted him to lose weight and all that type of stuff. And as you see, I don't know if you've ever seen it on Kevin Owens 365, those rumors have become true because their relationship really wasn't that great up until SummerSlam later in the year type of thing. So, I still thought the match was really good. Just really didn't understand the finish. If they were just going to write off Jericho, why not just write him off here? It didn't really make any sense. But what did you think of this match overall and everything like that and your star rating?
I thought the match itself was good. I gave it 3 stars. But yeah, Kevin Owens should have just won. It really didn't. It was just odd that. Yeah, it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. If you remember, too, by the way, this is around that period of time, too. There's a reason, by the way, in 2017, when we did our year-end awards, we gave, best title change of the year and worst title change of the year. Because if you remember, the main roster, I think a title change hands, every other fucking week. Some type of championship change hands. And it was really odd. Of course, though, there was one championship we'll talk about later that fucking stayed on one guy that no one wanted, but we'll just get to that. Then we had the next match, because we've done career retrospectives for both Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. I think I'll just say this now. I think we've done a career retrospective for everybody that's on this show, so we'll just get that out of the way. I think everyone, has been done. Then we had the Cruiserweight Championship match. It was Neville defending the belt against Austin Aries. This is at that time when you knew the Cruiserweight match was coming out. They would change the set design to purple, and then they would change the ring ropes to purple, so they kind of do a lot. So they had to do a lot of stalling for that type of thing. By the way, do you remember they do that funny backstage segment, by the way, after Payback? I want to bring this up when Jericho's... It's like his last night on Raw, and he's talking with Kurt Angle type of thing. And then Mike Rome comes up and tries to get a backstage interviewer with Jericho. And this is at that time where he thought Mike Rome was Tom Phillips, and Tom Phillips was Mike Rome, so he just didn't understand what was going on. So he was calling Tom Phillips, I think Mike Tom, and he was calling Mike Rome Tom Mike or something like that. And he put them both on the list, and... He even told Mike Rome, "I'll see you on SmackDown," but it was Tom Phillips was the one. No, he asked which one's on SmackDown. And Tom Phillips raised his hand, and he called Tom Phillips Mike Rome, which was hilarious. Like,
that's so funny.
Yeah. The last time I think anyone ever made it wasn't the last time someone made the list. Aiden English actually was the last person to make the list. So, there you go. Poor Aiden English. But yeah, we had this cruiserweight title match. But yeah, the ropes were purple, and this was a pretty good feud. They fought in the WrestleMania. Austin Aries was on commentary, and he made a statement by attacking Neville. And they fought for the belt at Mania on the kickoff, which was left off the Mania DVD, which, there's a reason we bring that up. And Neville won at Mania by gouging Austin Aries' injured eye. And then Austin Aries won a fatal 5-way match to earn another opportunity. And, then eventually Neville recruited TJP as his friend, who doesn't even factor into this fucking match. He doesn't even show up. So what was the point of that? And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is probably the best, under the Vince regime, that the Cruiserweight division ever received, type of thing. Just because everybody knew Neville and everybody pretty much knew who Austin Aries was. So they were pretty big stars for the division. And Neville was probably in the best one of his career as a heel, and probably would have been the best one of his career had the Cruiserweight division been booked better, and with the way he loses the belt and all that type of stuff, it doesn't help. So, So the match starts. Aries and Neville do some nice chain grappling with each other where no one really gets the advantage on each other. Eventually, Aries dominates the beginning portions. He really takes control of Neville. And eventually, Aries goes for... he's going to go for some type of 450, but Neville crosses him on the ropes, and he hits a vicious enziguri on him, send him to the outside. Neville dominates the match. He throws him back and forth into the barricade. He works over the leg and neck of Aries. He hits a vicious missile drop kick on Neville. Do you remember, too, this is when Neville's theme music changed? It got really slowed down and all that type of stuff because he was a heel and all that type of stuff. It was really great. Eventually, Neville's just taunting the crowd, and Booker T's just like, I don't understand this. Why would you taunt the crowd? And I'm like, Booker, you made your career out of doing this as a heel. Like, you were doing this all the time. What are you talking about?
You must have forgot.
Yeah. So there is weird Booker T lines. There's one point, by the way, where he mentions in this match, that sometimes you have to just take an opportunity. You can't worry about having any friends in this business. And then during the Hardy Boys match later, he's just like, I love the fact that the Hardy Boys are back as a tag team. It's like, what are you talking about? You just said earlier this is a selfish business. You talk about later on, you're happy that another tag team's back as a tag team. Like, what are you talking about, Booker? He cannot make up his mind about what he wants. I wonder if it's just on a whim. It's just whatever he's in the mood for at the time. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, you ever notice that, by the way, too? Even in NXT, he'll be like that. He'll be like, yeah, this is a no friends business. You have to be selfish. And then when it's a tag team match, it's like, I'm loving this tag team right here. They have to make it together. Like, he cannot make up his mind about what he wants on commentary. What do you think about that? Booker T fucking not knowing what he wants.
It's not unusual. Every week.
I still would never, when we do this retro, I still would never forget. I remember it was when Corey Graves was supposed to be working both shows. He was supposed to be the one that was neutral, but fucking Booker T didn't even know what fucking side he was supposed to be on. He was supposed to be on Raw's side, but he was fucking, I think he was like supporting SmackDown. It's like, and Michael Cole even had to be like, you're supposed to be on my side here. Like, it was just so fucking weird. Like, I feel like I remember Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton were just like, Booker, I thought, are you coming to SmackDown or something? Like, they thought he was going to SmackDown because he kept fucking changing his sides. Like, he kept forgetting what side he was on. Like, oh, Booker, what are you doing, buddy? Like, what do you think? I don't understand. But anyhow, I feel like too, if he was, if someone invaded like his wrestling school, like his wrestling promotion, he would fucking forget what side he's supposed to be on. He'd be on the fucking invading forces side by act and forget. Oh, Booker, man, what are you doing? But anyhow, continuing with the breakdown of the match, because Neville keeps gloating, Aries attacks him from behind. He hits a suicide dive on the outside. He mounts a huge comeback, which was really good stuff. He hits a really good sunset flip powerbomb. And then he doesn't get the win, though. He hits a really vicious ear clap onto Neville, which sets that up, too. At one point, he tries to go for the 450 and Neville just rolls out of the way. And it was just like, what's going on here? He didn't really understand what was going on. So, like, he was very pissed. In kayfabe, anyways, but he might have been actually pissed. Who knows? And then eventually, Aries locks Neville into the last chancery, and it doesn't look like Neville's going to get out of it. So he grabs the referee and just tosses him halfway across the ring, pretty much. And they call for disqualification. And Aries wins, but because, it was a title match and stuff, and the champion can't lose the title on a DQ, Neville retains the championship. This match was really good. I give it like 3.5 stars. The finish just kind of sucked. They clearly wanted to continue this feud because they didn't really have anybody else ready at the time for Neville to face for the belt because they didn't really do a good job building up contenders for Neville's Cruiserweight Championship. Yeah, that's basically it. What do you think of this overall and everything like that?
It was fine.
What'd you give it? What'd you give it as like a star rating?
2.5.
There you go. Why 2.5?
3.
Why 3?
Because it's a nice number.
Okay. It's an easy number too. Easy to remember. So
it is.
And yeah. Obviously, this set up the rematch at Extreme Rules, where it was the submission match where Neville would retain the championship, and then Aries pretty much would be. If you think about it, not long after this, Aries is out of the company pretty much. So
he's out of the company by I think October, November, something like that.
Yeah.
What the fuck this was? It was like I think he was up. He was definitely out by the end of the year though.
Yeah, both of them are actually out of the company. If you think about it, like that's really weird to think about.
Yeah.
So,
the following spring, I think Neville was gone.
Yeah, so it's insane. But yeah, I feel like too. This is the do you think this is the best the cruiserweight division gets under the Vince regime? Because obviously, when Triple H takes it over, it pretty much turns around.
Yeah,
definitely.
This was. I mean, he booked it pretty solid, and then it just fell apart.
Yeah. Kind of his fault, kind of Enzo's fault. So. Then it shows an ad for Backlash, which if you want to check out that Backlash 2017 retro, that's on the channel. So there you go. Then we had the Raw Tag Team Championship match. It's the Hardy Boys defended against Sheamus and Cesaro. The reason for this match was the Hardy Boys came out. They came back at WrestleMania 33. They came back during the ladder match, which Sheamus and Cesaro also win, and they won the Raw Tag Team titles. And Sheamus and Cesaro became the #1 contenders to the championships. And it was very much a face versus face match. The Hardy Boys would have a few singles matches with Sheamus and Cesaro, and when they would win them, one of them would get hot-headed and upset about the fact that had happened, and they would cooler heads would prevail, and they would show respect for each other. Which I think it's kind of cool to watch that, because I didn't even catch on to the fact at the time that it was going to be a heel turn, so that's pretty cool to kind of see. Like, they were slowly building up a heel turn type of thing. Yeah, Sheamus and Cesaro come out to their entrance. I think this is when they started doing that. It would be Cesaro's entrance, and then Sheamus would come out, and it'd just be Sheamus' entrance. Which I always thought was kind of weird. But I thought it was cool because they got the timing of it down pretty well and all that type of stuff. And the match starts off. The Hardy Boys dominate early. They hit a lot of really cool dives on Sheamus and Cesaro. And they're basically out-veteran and outworking Sheamus and Cesaro. And then eventually they throw Jeff Hardy back first into the turnbuckle, and he lands through the ropes, and they dominate Jeff Hardy for a while. There's a bit in the match where Sheamus hits a vicious knee strike onto Jeff Hardy, and this is to the point where his tooth comes out. And they do the spot a lot in wrestling anyways, where it looks like that, but this was legit this time. Jeff Hardy's tooth legitimately came out during this match, which was absolutely insane. You realize that doing this teeth was very much a connection to Sheamus and Cesaro's early one as a tag team, because then later on Cesaro would like his teeth like pressed up against his mouth or whatever happened to him. Like yeah.
Hit it with the mouth guard.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, the match continues. They dominate Jeff Hardy for a while. They throw him into the barricade. Sheamus hits a vicious Irish curse backbreaker on Jeff Hardy. Then eventually, after a couple failed attempts, Matt Hardy gets the hot tag. He goes off on Sheamus and Cesaro. He hits Sheamus with the side effect, and it doesn't get the win. It never does. I don't think he's ever... We would have to look this up. I don't think Matt Hardy ever has won a match with a side effect. I think that's impossible.
It is.
And then the match continues. Jeff Hardy hits some really cool dives on the outside, and then eventually Cesaro catches Matt Hardy at one point with a slingshot uppercut, and then eventually the finish was supposed to be Matt Hardy hits the twist of fate, and Jeff Hardy hits the Swanton bomb, which does happen, but there's a bit where Jeff Hardy's in the wrong corner. Like, the ref had to tell him, Jeff, you're in the wrong corner. So they basically had to have Sheamus counter it, and basically they just had to redo the finish pretty much, where Matt Hardy hits the twist of... no, I think Sheamus hits the blow kick, and he goes for the cover, and Jeff Hardy hits a swanton bomb to the back of Sheamus's neck. And the Hardys win. They retain the Raw Tag Team Championships. And yeah, it was a very good match. Afterwards, Sheamus and Cesaro, shake hands. It looks like they're gonna show respect, but it doesn't last very long. Sheamus and Cesaro attack the Hardys. They beat up Jeff Hardy. They throw him off the buckle, and they beat up Matt Hardy. And they throw Jeff Hardy into the post, and then they hit Matt Hardy with a vicious blow kick. And Sheamus and Cesaro, I'll say turn heel, because technically Sheamus was still a heel. He was more of a tweener at this time, but Cesaro definitely was a turn heel, because Cesaro was a babyface before the tag team run anyways. But the team itself turned heel, which I actually thought was very effective. I thought it was a very good heel turn. This match was very good. I gave it 3 3/4 stars, and I liked the angle they did afterwards. And it really set up Sheamus and Cesaro as a really good top heel tag team on Raw, and then eventually SmackDown and stuff. And this is eventually when they finally start to like become a real tag team. I think it's right after this heel turn, so it's really great stuff. Before one spot I want to break down is Cesaro does a vicious leg drop onto Jeff Hardy, and he goes like up over the ropes, which was insane, which was awesome. But what did you think of this match overall? What would your star rating for this match be?
This match is really good. I give it 3 stars. I liked it a lot.
How'd you feel about the heel turn and everything like that?
It was needed. They were over, but yeah, the heel run extended their stay a lot longer as a tag team.
Then we have a charity work video package where it shows all the charity work that WWE does for the community, which is cool stuff. Then Braun Strowman's backstage, and he tells Roman Reigns that if he even dares show up tonight, that he's going to make sure that Roman Reigns leaves in an ambulance. And he's going to absolutely destroy Roman Reigns and destroy anybody that gets in his way. Good promo here by Braun Strowman. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, it's a really good promo by Braun Strowman. It gets over the fact that he's dominant.
Yeah. Then we had a Raw Women's Championship match. It's Bayley defended against Alexa Bliss. The reason for this match was Alexa Bliss got drafted or shooken up. I don't even know what you call it, but she got drafted over to from SmackDown to Raw. This was right after Alexa Bliss had been a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion, and Bayley had been a Raw Women's Champion. She successfully defended it at WrestleMania, and she needed some fresh blood. And it looked like they were going to do Bayley versus Sasha Banks. I think we were all thinking that was going to be the long-term plan at SummerSlam, where they were going to face off for the belt. They were going to get Bayley a lengthy title reign. And you knew that Sasha Banks was going to turn on Bayley at some point. And it looked like that was going to happen, and then Alexa Bliss interrupted it. And they had, I think it was a Fatal 4-Way match Alexa Bliss won to become #1 contender. And they brought up the fact that it was in Bayley's hometown, and Bayley's whole purpose was Alexa Bliss's whole purpose was she wanted to embarrass Bayley in front of her hometown. So that's kind of why this match was happening. We had the match.
No, weird feud.
Yeah.
That weird feud where it's like she just wanted to embarrass Bayley. Like she would bring out her fucking dolls and said she still plays with these, and it was really fucking weird.
Oh yeah, I don't even think that's at this point yet. I think this is still the early stage of the feud. I think that's coming up pretty damn soon though.
Because they had that stick on a pole match, and that was fucking horrific.
Oh well, yeah, we'll talk about that later on. Because you know that'll be a retro someday. So, but we had this match. Bayley dominates the beginning portions of the match. He gets a really good drop kick onto Alexa Bliss, like underneath the bottom turnbuckle. And then eventually Alexa Bliss targets the arm of Bayley. She really works it over, and she dominates Bayley for a while. At some point, she's just getting upset because she's not getting a 3 count. Commentary randomly just decided to bring up that the referee for this match was back for the first time after the ring exploded. And they just talked about that for like 5 minutes. Like, they completely ignored the action that was going on. Like, Booker T would not shut up about it either. He was like, I'm so happy this guy is back and everything like that. Like, it's like, Booker, the referee, it's cool that he's back. You don't need to spend 5 minutes talking about it. Like,
he's not dead either.
I know. Like, Booker T made it seem like the guy died or something. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, but the match continues. Bayley mounts a comeback. She hits a really good elbow drop onto Alexa Bliss, but Alexa Bliss kicks out of it. And then, eventually, Alexa Bliss, Bayley goes to charge at Alexa Bliss, and she lands headfirst into the turnbuckle, and Bayley still tries to get a win with a roll-up, but Alexa Bliss turns it into a DDT, and I think that's, I forget what she called that, but Alexa Bliss wins. She becomes the new Raw Women's Champion, and she made history. She was the first one to be SmackDown and Raw Women's Champion. I remember, too, they tried to make it seem like it was a big deal, but it really wasn't, because the belts weren't even around all that fucking long, so it really wasn't that big of a deal that she was the first ever Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. So there you go. Hey, at least it's not as bad as at least you didn't say later on, I've always wanted to be the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion when the belts weren't even around. So
yeah.
At least she wasn't doing that. So, but yeah, I thought this match was good stuff. I give it like 3 stars. I feel like too, it's one of those things. It's a typical WWE thing. People can't win in their hometown. Like everyone was loving Bayley here. Bayley was really over. She doesn't get over originally when her entrance comes out, but like when they do the introductions, the crowd really go nuts for Bayley. And of course, the WWE it was a big thing in the Vince era. It's kind of a big thing in the Triple H era, but not as bad, where you can't win on your birthday and you can't win in your hometown. I don't get why Vince had that mentality in him, because it was way too soon to take the title off Bayley at this time. And, if anything, you could say this hurt Bayley, not originally, but if this doesn't happen, they probably wouldn't have done the fucking Extreme Rules match. So, it just really didn't make any sense. This was kind of like the early stages of when they kind of started screwing up with Bayley a little bit. It was good for Alexa Bliss. They obviously saw a lot in her, but I feel like too there was no reason to take the title off of Bayley, and you basically it was just way too soon. And again, you just had to do it in her hometown. Like, I don't understand that, but and I think the worst part about this is during Bayley's entrance, you don't even get to see her full entrance and her feel the crowd. Because if you remember, they don't do this anymore. They do the bit where they come to the international commentary team to just say who it is. You had to do it during Bayley's entrance. Like, you couldn't do it any other time. Picture this. Picture Sami Zayn in Montreal this year doing his world title entrance. They fucking cut to the international team. Like that.
Fuck yeah. Let's go. cut to that fucking commentary team.
Yeah, but what did you? I still gave the match 3 stars. I still thought it was good enough. I just think it was the one zone. I think they should have had Bailey retain. What do you think?
I give it 3 stars too. The match, okay, it was okay. Again, like you said, like Vince hated when people would get over on their hometown or on their birthday, and they would announce it too if it was their birthday.
Yeah,
and it would be like, okay, well, he's not winning or she's not winning. So it was nice while that lasted. They got that nice little hometown crowd reaction. Now you get to fucking lose.
yeah.
It happened all the time. Every fucking time this happened. And it didn't need to. Like,
Yeah.
the title came off of Bailey way too soon, and they had that awful match at Extreme Rules, and then
Bailey's popularity just went down.
It stunted her growth.
Yeah.
Like, it just stunted it. And even at the time, I was like, okay, that's way too fucking soon to take the belt off of her. Like, I can't believe they took the title off already.
Yeah.
Like, way too soon. Like, she had just won it. It was way too soon.
Especially, too, like, you had a money-made feud with Sasha Banks and Bailey, and Sasha had to stay a babyface. And as you see, but Sasha cannot be a babyface. She is not a natural babyface. So you kept Sasha babyface way longer. Honestly, it took her threatening them to leave the first time for them to finally turn her heel again. And then we didn't even get the Bailey Sasha Banks match properly. I think say we got in the Thunder. We didn't get it in front of a crowd at all. Like that.
They had zero interest in that feud, really.
Yeah,
it was a money feud.
It took a fucking pandemic, if you think about it, for them to finally do that match, pretty much, because they didn't have a choice.
Oh, yeah.
So, the pandemic. It seemed like it took a pandemic for Vince to do a lot of the things that we wanted him to do. The Bailey Sasha feud, and then the Roman Reigns heel turn. Like, if the pandemic doesn't happen, does Vince just not? Does Vince just like, fuck it, we're not doing these.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the fuck? Like, why did we have to have a pandemic for Vince to do a lot of these things? So. So yeah, so far, a relatively good show. Like, we would have liked finishes to go smoother and all that type of stuff. Let's get to the match that we're here for. That's the Brand versus Brand Interpromotional House of Horrors match. It's SmackDown's Randy Orton versus Monday Night Raw's Bray Wyatt. Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah. Oh, shit is right.
The reason for this feud was they started feuding pretty much right when the brand split started. Why did they ever even feud? Did Bray Wyatt just target Randy Orton one day? I don't even know what the fucking reason the feud even why did it start? Because I know Randy Orton. I know Randy Orton joins the Wyatt family later on, but they were still feuding before that. What the fuck was the reason for this feud? Did Bray Wyatt just fucking decide to target Randy Orton one day? What the fuck was the actual reason for this feud? I'm trying to figure it out. Do you remember?
I forget. I honestly forget.
Okay.
What point?
If you probably think about this, it was probably a lot of Bray Wyatt's feuds too. He just fucking targeted somebody one day. You could say that's a lot of wrestling feuds, but I feel like it's more of a problem with fucking Bray Wyatt than anybody else. He just targets them.
Oh, yeah.
But eventually, after they feuded for a bit, Randy Orton joined the Wyatt family for real, and you knew that it was a trap because it happened randomly and stuff. And they admittedly did a pretty decent job of building that tension between them. It was kind of one of those moments though, you're just fucking waiting for it though, you know it's gonna happen. You're just when is it gonna happen?
Yeah.
And I know you're gonna say, well, wasn't that what made the bloodline with Sami Zayn and stuff interesting? I feel too what made that interesting more than this one is you knew Randy Orton was turning, and you knew this wasn't gonna last. With Sami, they kept throwing swerves and stuff in there where you're okay, maybe he's gonna stick around and all that type of stuff. The Randy Orton one, you knew wasn't gonna last past WrestleMania. Actually, pre-WrestleMania, you knew that was gonna happen, and it just felt like they were delaying it too for so long, type of thing. It's okay, let's go. I think this was around that time too. They didn't have a lot of baby faces on SmackDown too. I think it was just various people. Because if you remember, AJ Styles kept having to wrestle Dean Ambrose for months because they had no other baby faces really. So it's like, why did you kind of do this? Because you basically just lost a baby face out of it pretty much. And if you remember, Randy Orton was relatively over, by the way, too. He just came back from his injury and all that type of stuff. He just got his ass kicked, too, by Brock Lesnar. He was over, so why are you turning the guy fucking heel? It doesn't even make sense. Like, I know it's a fake heel turn, but it's like, why? What do you do? It's like, and I think we knew this was gonna happen too, because as you know, they like to make Bray Wyatt look like a fool. They did this fucking storyline years earlier with Daniel Bryan, and that sucked even worse. So it's like, why are you doing this again? Like, so that did kind of suck. I think it was interesting to watch it week to week because you were waiting for that moment of Randy Orton to turn. But I remember, I think we were legit saying on Massasoit Wrestling Corner / Wrestling Rundown, okay, he's turning soon. When is he gonna turn? And it wasn't one of those interesting things like with the Sami Zayn and the Bloodline storyline where we were like, okay, when's the turn gonna happen? It's like, okay, he's fucking turning. Just get to the point right now. So
exactly.
Then, anything you want to say about that with how they went about that?
It's just really weird because, I just feel like they were feuding out of nowhere, and then they teamed up, and then and John Tunney knew from the beginning. He's like, this is just a false sense of security storyline.
Yeah,
and it was. He called it from the very, very beginning.
We all did.
It was very obvious. It was a false sense of security storyline. And then it started to look like it wasn't going to be. And then the tension started. And then when the tension started, it was like, okay, it's obvious what's going to happen now.
Yeah. Oh, let's get to the tension, too, because that's even... the feud sucks anyway, so it's like, yeah, what a way to end it. But Randy Orton wins the Rumble, so clearly... And they made it pretty well known, that was the year that you had to challenge for your branch championship. Notice they changed that fucking quick the next year. It's like, that year at the Rumble, you had to challenge for your branch championship. It wasn't the one you got to choose. They changed that fucking rule the next year. So you knew Randy Orton was going to challenge for the WWE title. So they had to get the belt on Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt wins the belt at Elimination Chamber. And then during this time, Randy Orton ousted Luke Harper from the Wyatt family, essentially. Beats him up. And then, at first, Randy Orton just like, yup, I'm not going to fight you at Mania. I'm not going to fight the guy at Mania when he already has a Rumble shot. And I like how they just accepted that was just a shit house it works. Like, well, the guy doesn't want his title shot. What a waste of a Rumble win. WWE loved doing that, too, where they would have the guy win the Rumble, and then they have to go through all these hoops. It's like it kind of diminishes the Rumble win because then if you remember, Bray Wyatt told Randy Orton that he had the keys to the kingdom, and what an idiot! He gave him the keys, and he burned he burned his fucking house down pretty much.
Yeah.
To destroy the spirit of Sister Abigail. And you knew, by the way, once that video came in where Randy Orton was gonna say that, like, yep, this is gonna be it. He's fucking turning, type of thing. You knew that was gonna be it. So he burns down the fucking Wyatt family house or whatever it was. I don't even think it was a house. I don't know what the fuck it was, but and then the feud just gets worse from this point going forward. Bray Wyatt blessed himself into the ashes of Sister Abigail, and then they did that weird segment where a bunch of people came up to Randy Orton in the goat mask and did some type of sacrificial thing. It was fucking shit. And then the match happened at Mania. That sucked. That was fucking awful. The worst. That might be the worst WrestleMania match I think I've ever seen. I know you could say, well, what about this one? What about that one? One, I think, because you might say, I think we talked about Shane McMahon versus The Miz. The one this year was worse, but that was funny worse. And then Goldberg versus Brock was kind of out of WWE's control. That was kind of them going, "Fuck you, we're gonna do what we want." This was they thought this was gonna be good. They thought, basically, I guess Bray Wyatt just took over the teleprompter or whatever, and there was a bunch of fucking PowerPoint presentations of fucking bugs and all that type of stuff. I still don't know what the fuck that match was that I saw. Like, I still don't fucking know.
either.
And I think John Tunney said it best. You know, as bad as it sucked, if he won, it would have made sense. He fucking lost. Bray Wyatt lost. Even after he had all these distractions and he fucking lost. So then, Bray Wyatt wanted a rematch, so they got the House of Horrors match out of it. Notice too, right when Bray Wyatt got drafted to fucking Raw, it wasn't for the fucking championship anymore. It was supposed to be for the WWE Championship. And it was fucking weird. They announced it for fucking Backlash, and then they decided, okay, wait, we can't do it at Backlash now. We're gonna do it at fucking Payback. It's like, what the fuck happened? Like, I told you, this just proves that Vince would just book shit on a whim sometimes. And how come this match wasn't for the belt, but fucking Owens and Jericho still was, even though like, wasn't the whole point that's why Bray Wyatt wanted revenge, was to get his championship? I guess not. You didn't fucking care about that. I think too yeah, I think too, once it wasn't for the belt, there was no point to even having this match anymore. Like,
it really was.
And then we have the match. The fucking stalling, by the way. They're waiting all this time. And we get told the rules of the match. These great rules right here. So basically, it's gonna start at Bray Wyatt's. I think they said like House of Horrors. So it's Bray Wyatt's house that make it well known. And the only way to win the match is you have to get back to the ring, and you can only win by pinfall, submission, or via forfeit, which they called I think it's fortitude. I think it was. It's basically like a word that's real, but because no one fucking talks like that, WWE makes it sound like it's a made-up word. Like Vince says, you have to say it this way, type of thing. And there's a reason that word was batted in there, type of thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think too we were wondering what was this gonna be. I don't know what we thought it was gonna be. We were thinking, okay, if they give Bray Wyatt creative control, this could be something special. This was WWE trying to get into the world of cinematic matches, because a lot of wrestling were doing this at the time. You know, Impact with the Hardy Boys deletion matches, and then obviously Lucha Underground. Basically, all of that was cinematic matches. So WWE tried dipping their toe in there. So let's see if they succeeded. We have the match. Bray Wyatt's intro thing goes off, and it just shows. Apparently, this is meant to be like in real time, I guess. But that doesn't make sense. Because I think John pointed this out, because I didn't know this at the time, and now I know this now. It was in San Jose, California, and I think isn't there like a time difference in California versus like what? Because basically it's implied this is happening at night, but it wouldn't be nighttime if it would happen, because isn't it like
there's like a 3-hour, I think, time difference.
So it still would have been basically it still would have been daytime if this was meant to happen.
Yeah, it would have been daytime.
Yeah. And Randy Orton is just in like a freaking limousine. A driver brought him to the venue. We don't even know who brought him there. This driver's just there. I was thinking maybe it's Luke Harper, but I forgot he wasn't in the Wyatt family, so it wouldn't have been him. Was it? I think would it have been Eric Rowan, I guess? I don't know. Like, we never find out who the driver is. And
it's just driver.
Randy Orton just decides, by the way, he's just going to go to someone's house, by the way, in a fucking just pants and the shirt and put his wrestling gear on, pretty much. It's like, okay.
No, it wasn't even a shirt. It was fucking pants and elbow pads.
Yeah, like, I guess that's how he's going to present himself.
Arrives at people's house fucking topless.
I guess so. And he gets out of the car, or the limousine, and, he's kind of looking around. We see that this house... It looks like they still had the fucking Christmas decorations up. Like, it's fucking April, Bray. I think you missed the boat on that. And Randy Orton's just kind of looking around, and he sees that this house is very haunted. And then this fucking tractor just backs up randomly, all by itself. It's I guess Bray Wyatt left it in reverse when he was mowing the lawn or whatever. So. But yeah, this haunted tractor pops up, and Randy Orton's just like, what the fuck, pretty much. He's like, freaked out about this. And we see Bray Wyatt's like staring down Randy Orton, by the way, like like he was waiting for him this whole time and all that type of stuff. I was like, yeah, I see you. Like he was trying to be like a horror movie, like Michael Myers, Leatherface type character, but it just fucking failed miserably. Then Randy Orton goes up to the house and the door's locked. I
guess he didn't want him to come over.
I guess not. And John Tunney pointed this out, by the way. Randy Orton could have just fucking left right then, gone to the arena, and won by forfeit if Bray Wyatt didn't want him to. Bray Wyatt didn't want him there. Like,
imagine, like he's going back to the arena, and Bray Wyatt just runs out and goes, "Wait a minute, I'm here. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, come back."
But that's not what happens, though. Randy Orton's a dumb babyface, and he was very much a dumb babyface in 2017, by the way. This isn't even by the way, remember you said Randy Orton could have won the Punjabi prison match 3 times? I think Randy Orton could have won this match if he really wanted to and all that type of stuff.
He could have walked up to the door, knocked on the door, and if Bray didn't answer, he could have left and went back to the arena and won.
Yeah, like
all in 5 minutes.
He's just like, yeah. But that's not what Randy Orton does, though. He fucking decides, I'm gonna kick the fucking door down now. He doesn't even fucking knock or anything like that, by the way. He just fucking tries to open the door. He doesn't.
What a rude house guest.
Yeah. What does he wait? Like fucking. I don't even think he. Yeah, I don't know if you watched that show.
He just walks up and kicks it down.
Yeah.
He didn't even wait.
You ever see that episode of like Drake and Josh where like Helen's grandmother comes over and she rings the doorbell and she's like, I waited the doorbell, I waited 25 seconds. What was I supposed to do? That's what Randy Orton did here, pretty much. So,
He's like, fuck it, kicking the door down.
And the door just comes completely fucking off its hinges, too, by the way. Like, this door was not put well together. We should just talk about this right now, by the way, too. What a terrible, house owner Bray Wyatt is, and what a terrible, guest inviter and all that type of stuff, because, he did not clean this fucking house at all, by the way. It was fucking dirty, fucking run down. What a terrible, I don't even, like, house invitation Randy Orton got. So, yeah, I guess the match starts. I don't know if we could call it a match at this point. We should mention that this looks like a fucking B-level horror movie with the way they produce this. Not that there's anything wrong with B-level horror movies, but, like, fucking Impact stuff looked better than this shit. The Impact was barely even functional by this point. So I don't even understand that. This is a $1 billion company, pretty much, and it looks like B-level horror movie shit. The door just closes on its own, by the way, so Randy Orton's fucking trapped there now, so that's great job, Randy. You just fucking ruined it. And Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt get into a fight. Bray Wyatt's wearing a tank top and jeans, and they get into a fight. Bray Wyatt apparently threw Randy Orton into some glass. So I think it was a lamp or something, because you don't even see it because you can't fucking see a thing in there. And then Randy Orton hits Bray Wyatt off the head with a glass vase, I think it was. And then Bray Wyatt just fucking disappears. He's just fucking gone. Like, that's basically kind of what happens. Anytime Randy Orton would get a lick of offense in, Bray Wyatt would just fucking disappear. Just like, oh shit, I'm getting my ass kicked. See you later. Bye. Like, he just dips. And he starts walking around the house. And Bray Wyatt tries to do a horror movie, like, monster scene where, like, he tries to pull Randy Orton, like, through the wall type of thing. And Randy Orton's able to fight that off. So, it was meant to scare Randy Orton. And he was coughing after this because, I felt like this house wasn't very well secured. There's a lot of coughing that happens between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt during this. Like, I don't know what was going on, but it must have been very dusty in there. Again, Bray Wyatt's a terrible house owner. He's just, yeah. And he walks into this room. What the fuck was this? Bray Wyatt has, like, dolls, like baby dolls, hung around and all that type of stuff. And they're like stabbed through with like scissors and all that type of stuff. And you hear this, baby noises and all that type of stuff going on. And Randy Orton just looking at this like, what the fuck? Bray Wyatt attacks Randy Orton from behind. They continue to fight it. He throws Randy Orton through a wall. He attacks him some more. Randy Orton gets some offense and he tackles down Bray Wyatt. And Bray gets pissed. He goes to throw a crib at Randy Orton. And he completely misses him. And he just takes off. So Randy Orton continues to make his way through the House of Horrors. And Randy Orton, I think he entered this room. and I think it was like sticks that were like stacked up together. I don't even know what the fuck this was. I still don't even know what it was, but like, I guess Bray Wyatt just picks up sticks in his backyard and fucking. It was like stacked up like the Alpha Tower.
Decoration.
Huh?
It's his welcoming gift to Randy.
I guess so. And then he makes his way to the kitchen. What a bad kitchen this was. Not even a big fucking kitchen, by the way. Like, what the fuck, dude? And Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton attack each other. Bray Wyatt didn't even do the fucking dishes. He had fucking company coming over and didn't even do the dishes. And they get into a brawl. Eventually, Randy Orton throws Bray Wyatt into the sink, and he's about to hit him with a frying pan, but Bray Wyatt hits a low blow on Orton, and he dumps the refrigerator. The refrigerator was fucking dirty, by the way. It looked like it was fucking run down and all that type of stuff. And it said and it said we are here. We're here on the refrigerator. So I guess if that's to let people know, other house guests know that they're there. And he's supposed. And by the way, there's someone's spying on Bray Wyatt, by the way, because there was fucking security camera footage that this was taken in. So I think someone's spying on fucking Bray Wyatt. Someone creeping on him. I don't know what's going on, but Bray Wyatt tips the refrigerator over, and it's supposed to hit Randy Orton, but if you with the way the camera cuts, that totally didn't even fucking touch Randy Orton.
Didn't touch him at all.
And I remember too. Later on, they go to recap this, and Michael Cole says, "We want to apologize for those of you that are squeamish," and it just cuts to it. It's like, I think you're pretty squeamish. I don't think that would have gotten you like throwing up or anything, because that doesn't even fucking touch Randy Orton. Like,
I was vomiting everywhere.
And then Bray Wyatt just leaves. He goes into the car and he says, "Driver, take me to the arena." No, first he says, he does his catchphrase and everything like that. And I guess Randy Orton got sent to hell or something, because the lights in the house get all red and all that type of stuff. Like, I don't know what happened. And then he has the driver take him to the arena, and Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton just go to the... Well, Bray Wyatt goes to the arena, and the big hook for the match later is that we don't even know if Randy Orton's going to make it back in time, because he just had a refrigerator dumped on him. And the commentators, by the way, are completely aghast about what they saw, especially fucking Booker. Booker doesn't even know what to say. Like, he's like, I don't know what the hell I just saw, but that seems like that's only something that could have come out of the mind of Bray Wyatt type of thing. Like, Booker T does not even know what to say. Like,
Booker never knows what to say.
No, but especially here, like, he especially didn't know what to say. Like, he was just lost for words. So, yeah, before we can't even give our thoughts on the match yet, because it's not over. What are your thoughts on the cinematic part of the match?
It was something.
It was.
It was. It happened. It was weird. I mean, what more? Like, it's a very weird match. It's a very cinematic match. It's just like, I don't know. It's like tough to explain because it's not over yet. So
yeah, we'll say this. There's a reason, by the way, if you remember last year when they were doing the cinematic matches, they were hyping them up on all that type of stuff for the pandemic and stuff, like the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match. There's a fucking reason you and I were skeptical about that, because this match, I think, basically turned off everybody out of cinematic matches and all that type of stuff. That's how bad this match was. If you notice, I think they didn't do them again for like a while afterwards. I know they did the deletion match with Bray and Matt, I think the next year, like right before WrestleMania, and then then they just didn't do it ever again. So it's up until Firefly Funhouse and Boneyard matches. So those might be the best cinematic match. If I had to pick one or the other, I'd probably pick the Boneyard match. But if you notice, then WWE started doing them too much, and then we got this might be a retro someday, the fucking swamp fight. If you ever noticed, some of Bray Wyatt's cinematic matches are very hit or miss. Some of them are great, some of them are really bad, and this was one of them that was really bad so far. So, But yeah, it's not over yet, so we can't even say anything else. And then we have Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. Apparently, it's Bray Wyatt though, because I have Bray Wyatt in my notes for some reason. So,
Hey, it did happen eventually.
Huh? It did happen eventually. Yeah.
It did.
But yeah, we had Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. I felt bad for these two because they were in a bad spot on the show. They had to fucking follow whatever the fucking cinematic match was, and yeah, they just they were not put in a good spot here. But the reason for this match was Seth Rollins had turned babyface, and Samoa Joe was sent as a hired gun, pretty much. And I think this was meant to happen at Fastlane, but Seth Rollins legitimately tore his knee again. Was it the same knee that he injured originally when this match was being built up? So it was very questionable for like a while there whether or not he was going to be able to make WrestleMania. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but Steve Coakley and I speculated. We think Seth Rollins always was going to be ready to go, but then they eventually turned it into a storyline. I think he was probably ready to go longer than I think a lot of people said that he was. Do you agree with that, or do you think it was always in question?
I don't know. It's kind of tough to tell because he was out for a significant period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I tend to believe that it wasn't as serious as initially thought, and he could have come back a little bit sooner. But I don't know. It's the knee injuries are tough to tell.
Yeah, and then he finished up his program at WrestleMania, but he still wanted to get his hands on Samoa Joe, and it basically led to this feud. Samoa Joe said that he's now going for Seth Rollins for personal reasons due to business reasons. And, yeah, it was a really good storyline and stuff. This was when Samoa Joe was having a really good run on the main roster. It kind of sucked because he had to miss Mania. This was like one of the... He always had shitty luck when it came to Mania. Either his opponent would get injured before the match, or he would get injured. So this was kind of one of those cases. I don't know what was going to happen with Samoa Joe if he made it to Mania. It's still really unknown, but... basically, Samoa Joe missed Mania, so this was kind of like his WrestleMania moment. And, yeah, we had the match. They were kind of booked into a corner here, too, because they just had Seth Rollins beat Triple H at Mania, and he was kind of on the rise, and he couldn't lose. And then Samoa Joe couldn't lose because he was still really new to the company and all that. Well, to the main roster anyways. And he really couldn't lose his momentum, so they kind of booked themselves into a corner here a little bit. But we had the match. Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe brawl for a bit. Seth Rollins gets the advantage throughout the beginning portions of the matchup. He throws Joe into the barricade. He hits a suicide dive. He hits a axe handle off of the barricade. And then eventually Samoa Joe takes out Seth Rollins' legs with a dragon screw leg whip. And he just destroys the leg of Seth Rollins. He hits a vicious senton to the leg of Seth Rollins, and then he hits a suicide dive through in between the German and the Spanish announce table. And Samoa Joe targets the leg of Seth Rollins. He locks him in a half Boston Crab. He hits a shin breaker followed by like a German suplex with the leg hooked, but Seth kicks out. He hits a like an atomic drop, but he has like Seth Rollins' leg cross, which was cool. Seth bound to come back. He hits a vicious knee to the head, and he hits a sling blade, a frog splash, but Samoa Joe kicks out of it. Samoa Joe tries to lock Seth Rollins in the coquina clutch, but Seth Rollins tries to do a roll-up out of it, but Samoa Joe kicks out, and then he locks him in again. It looks like Seth Rollins is going to go out, but instead he falls, and Samoa Joe's shoulders are down, and, the referee counts 3, and Seth Rollins ends up winning the match. I thought this match was really good. I liked the finish a lot. I thought it protected both guys in defeat. In hindsight, they probably should have just given Joe to the win since he faced Brock Lesnar for the belt like about a couple months later. So in hindsight, it probably would have been better off. But I still thought this was fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. What did you think of this match? And again, I think they were put in a bad spot too because they had to follow that House of Horrors match. So what did you think of this match overall? Your star rating?
I think this match itself is very good. I give it 3.5 stars. they were in a tough position. Following that match, they did they definitely did the best they could, and yeah, it was very good. 3.5 stars, but I mean, it didn't in that time period. It didn't hurt either of them.
No, definitely not.
But in the future, definitely Joe could have used the win more than Seth, because Seth rebounded like he always does. But yeah. Joe kind of, I mean, yeah, Joe went on to he wanted to go feud with Brock. Joe did, but he didn't do much after that. So
yeah, I think they were supposed to have a rematch if you remember, but then we'll just talk about this. Braun Strowman got injured, so they had to scramble to come up with like a new main event, because I think the main event of Extreme Rules was going to be that ambulance match we got at Great Balls of Fire between Braun and Roman. But then Braun went out due to injury, so they had to do a different main event, because I think they were going to have a rematch at Extreme Rules, where Joe probably would have won that match. It's kind of interesting to think what would have happened, though. Would Joe have even gotten the match with Brock, though? Because the whole reason Joe gets the match with Brock is I think Strowman was going to face Brock at Great Balls of Fire. If, so it's interesting to see what would have happened. Like, it's also really weird. So, then it shows the network events coming up in the calendar year. They showed, like, a lot of stuff about the network and stuff. Probably a bit too much. It's always weird they advertise the fucking network when they were on the network. It's like, we already got it, guys. You don't need to fucking advertise it again.
Fuck it. Do it again.
But then the House of Horrors match continues. Bray Wyatt makes it to the arena. He's coughing, too. He's coughing up bad. Like, again, I think there was I think the house was dusty or something. Or there was some black mold in there or something. Because he did a lot.
Hack it up a lot.
Yeah. And he does his entrance, too. Like, I don't even know how the fucking... I don't understand this. Because they clearly... They taped the match the day before, the cinematic part. I think this was live when he actually arrives at the arena, which is just really weird. Because
yeah, because they have to, leave the arena and then go back into the arena.
Yeah, so...
it's so weird.
But...
they're already there.
Yeah.
They have to then leave the arena just to re-enter the arena again.
But Bray Wyatt does his entrance. It's very much skeptical whether or not Randy Orton's going to make it. And, of course, they do the predictable thing where after he blows out his lantern and everything like that, Randy Orton's just standing behind him. Okay, we got to talk about this. How the fuck does this make any sense? Dude just had a refrigerator dumped on him. And say he was able to he couldn't even there's no way he was going to get that fucking off by himself. Say he did, too. I think Bray had, a good half hour ahead of time of Randy Orton. How the fuck did Orton beat him to the fucking arena? That doesn't even make any sense.
Teleportation.
Yeah. I think there's a funny joke, because I remember John put on the episode of the Wrestling Observer Radio, and Dave Meltzer mentioned, well, maybe they hit traffic. So I guess Bray hit traffic, and Randy Orton, maybe he took the fast road to get there or something.
It was the fast lane.
Yeah.
To get payback.
Nice tie-ins right there, because Payback's coming up and Fastlane's the next pay-per-view, so that's good tie-ins right there. So yeah, Randy Orton's just there with a chair. He beats up Bray Wyatt. He lays him out with a chair, and he just beats the shit out of Bray Wyatt. He hits a back suplex on the table. He throws him into the steps. He hits him again off the back with the chair. He hits a draping DDT from the announce table onto the floor. And it looks like he's going to easily put away Bray Wyatt. And, then the Sin Brothers run out. They just became a thing as the Sin Brothers anyways. They were obviously a tag team before that. And they attack Randy Orton. They're not very successful. Randy Orton's able to fight them off fairly easily. After he just had a fucking, a refrigerator dumped on him,
Was that the suplex of Randy Orton? Did the oh shit face?
No, that's a backlash. So, but Bray Wyatt's about to hit his sister Abigail and win, but Randy Orton turns that into an RKO, and then Jinder Mahal comes up, who stole Randy Orton's WWE Championship. He blasts Randy Orton in the back of the head twice with the WWE Championship, and during this, Bray Wyatt hits his sister Abigail on Randy Orton. And Bray Wyatt wins the House of Horrors match. Wow. So yeah, really bad stuff here. This was like a crossover of two of Randy Orton's bad feuds he had going on at this time. I mean, the Jinder one just started, so we can't really say that, but the Bray Wyatt one, and then he enters right into a shitty one with Jinder Mahal. So it's like, yeah, what a great reunion here for Randy Orton right here. Two of his shit feuds going on. Okay, let's just talk about this. This match, I'm giving negative 4 3/4 stars. I don't think it's quite a perfectly bad match, because at least the bit in the ring where Randy Orton's just beating up Bray Wyatt's fairly fine. But the bit in the stuff in the ring isn't even all that good. One, Bray Wyatt still can't even get a fucking clean win without outside interference. The dude just got a refrigerator dumped on him, and he still is fucking kicking his ass and everything like that. And it still took a lot of interference for Bray Wyatt to fucking get a win. Like, it took the Sin Brothers and 2 shots with the WWE Championship for Randy Orton to finally fucking win. And then, this was the start of the terrible Jinder Mahal push, which we've talked about that before. Yeah, I think a lot of people were debating too, like, wow, Bray Wyatt won a fucking feud. Well, before I break down that, what did you think of the match overall and your star rating and everything like that?
This is interesting.
And if you want to talk about the cinematic part of it, because I know it was tough for you to talk about that because the match wasn't over when I was talking about it. So,
it's interesting. I'm gonna give it negative 4 stars also too.
I give wow, I went 4 3/4 actually. So
it's actually, yeah, 4 3/4 seems appropriate for this clusterfuck of a shit show of a match.
And it means negative 4 3/4, not actual 4 3/4. So
it's one of these things where it's terrible. I thought like trying to capitalize off the broken shit. Like, I can understand that if you're WWE, it's the new hot thing that's going on right now. But Impact did it 1,000 times better. And then you have this match. The fighting in the house seems so rushed. It just didn't. They were like quickly going into rooms and leaving rooms, and it felt like that could have lasted a bit longer.
Yeah.
It's just, and then they get to the arena, and Bray Wyatt needed interference from Jinder Mahal to win the fucking match. Bray Wyatt needed interference from Jinder Mahal to win the match. Jinder Mahal in the Singh Brothers. Yeah. Jinder, him, that guy, Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh, he's about to get relevant pretty damn soon.
He needed help from that fucking guy in order to win the match. That makes him look unbelievably weak. And at the time, I hated it too. Because it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, Bray can't beat Randy Orton by himself. I can understand if it was like a Luke Harper coming back to the Wyatt family. I looked this up like a few minutes ago, but Rowan was hurt.
Okay.
He had tore up his shoulder, bicep, pec, whatever, it was something. So he was out. And I can understand if it was Harper coming back to be a part of the Wyatt family again and helping Bray win, but fucking Jinder Mahal made no sense. And I think it would have been at least like a passable grade had Jinder Mahal not and the Singh brothers not interfered, which made 0 sense.
The fucking SmackDown guys too. What are they doing at a fucking Raw pay-per-view? Like, it doesn't even.
It's just mind-numbingly stupid.
Yeah.
And the match itself is just it's not much of a match as it is like just shit.
Yeah.
It's just shit brawling. It's just it's not good. Yeah, it's hard to
I don't
watch.
even get why they added this. Like, why didn't they just make it like falls count anywhere, first one to leave the house? Why do they add this shit like you have to come back to the arena type of shit? Like, how did that
Yeah.
even work? Like, did Randy, like you said, did they have to go? Did Randy Orton have to go to the fucking arena first for this person to come pick him up? Like, how did this fucking work? Did he have to wait for him at his house? Like, how the fuck did any of this shit work? Like, was there like a fucking road trip with Randy Orton and this guy too? Did Randy Orton just have to fucking sit in that limousine? Like, I don't get how this worked. Like,
It just seems so like. I remember even at the time, I was like, they had to go to the arena and wait
yeah,
for this part to happen so they
Yeah.
could make it seem like it was live. And just the way they entered the arena, too, it was like, they definitely weren't there.
yeah.
They definitely were at the arena and then left the arena and then came back.
Yeah, it's
It's just how it looked, like how they shot it.
yeah, it didn't really make sense. And then yeah, let's talk about the point I was going to talk about. Everybody thinks this is like the first feud that Bray Wyatt ever won. I want everyone to think about to take this into account. Bray Wyatt did not win this fucking feud. I know he won. A lot of people say, well, he won the last match. Okay, so what did he get out of this feud? He didn't get his championship back. He lost his fucking Wyatt family, and Randy Orton burned his fucking house down, and he couldn't even beat Randy Orton fucking clean at all. Like, what did Bray Wyatt get? Because usually if you win a feud, you get something out of the feud. Bray Wyatt got nothing out of this feud. He fucking got, if anything, it hurt him even more. So,
Do you know what he got? Absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah, that's what he got.
Jack fucking shit.
And then you know what the thing that sucks about this the most? After this, they both go right into shit feuds afterwards. Bray Wyatt he goes right to the fucking program with Finn Balor. And the less said about that, the better. And the man goes right to the fucking program with Jinder Mahal. Like they had bad years in 2017. Like Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt. I feel like too, if you think about it, I think when we did our year-end awards, if it wasn't for fucking Enzo Amore later in the year, one of those guys would win Worst Wrestler of the Year. By the way, I want to point that out. By the way, like, and funny thing is, they're all in this match. The guys that are in that category, Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton, and Bray Wyatt, are all here, ready to go. Like,
all ready.
I feel like too this year, fucking like, if you notice, after this year happens, Randy Orton goes on to have like a great 2018, a pretty good 2019, and a great 2020. Like, this year was so bad for Randy Orton. I think it motivated him to fucking end his career on a high note. And you know, if his career's over, because it's looking like it potentially is, I feel like he ended it on a high note. He didn't get to end it, I don't think the way he wanted to, but I feel like at least he got to go out like on a high note. So.
At least that's true.
I was watching this match too, and because I knew how this match was gonna be. I was just thinking to myself, "Wow, Vince really did hate Bray Wyatt now, didn't he? He fucking hated this guy, didn't he? Like, you want
fuck
Bray Wyatt had to put up.
He couldn't wait to ruin the Wyatt family.
Yeah, like, do you ever watch too? Like, do you ever watch too? Vince completely mistook what the Wyatt family gimmick was in NXT. It wasn't even a supernatural gimmick. It was like Bray had supernatural like thoughts, but he wasn't even supernatural. Like Vince completely mistook what this gimmick was supposed to be. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, like, this match is just, yeah.
It's a match essentially. It's just yeah.
And I think the thing that sucks about this the most is this is what this fucking show's remembered for, is the fucking House of Horrors match. Because as we talked about, the matches on this fucking show aren't even that bad. It's just this it's this match that we remember this show for. Like,
exactly.
It just sucks. I told you sometimes it's about moments, and you know we remember these, we remember this. So then we
absolutely did.
Yeah, because we're here. Then we have the main event. It was Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. These two probably had the best feud of 2017. I think they. I think when we did our year-end awards, I think we voted them to have the best feud of 2017. It was either this or Jericho and Owens. In hindsight, I will admit, I think I would probably say this is the best feud. because Jericho and Owens wasn't what it should have been. I mean, they still got to have a feud. It just should have been for the main championship. But Braun Strowman was he basically became red hot. He got really over after he left the Wyatt family. He went on a tear, just destroying everybody, and he cost Roman Reigns the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. And it led to a match at Fastlane that Roman Reigns won, which I still think was a dumb booking decision. They could have easily given the Braun Strowman the win there. But then after Roman Reigns went and handled business at WrestleMania, Braun Strowman was back in his warpath, pretty much. He viciously assaulted Roman Reigns backstage, absolutely destroyed him. He sent him on a stretcher. He put him on the stretcher and pushed him down like a garage door that was like really high up in the air, and then he tipped over an ambulance while Roman Reigns was outside. He just absolutely destroyed Roman Reigns. And that's like the moment I think he was still getting relatively over, but that was the moment right there. I think that Braun Strowman finally like really got over. Like it was really cool shit. That's when he got his catchphrases over too. I think "I'm not finished with you" got over because he says that in that beat. That's the first time he says that. So. And Braun Strowman went on a warpath. He wanted to take out Roman Reigns. They had to do this, too, because they had to write off Roman Reigns because I think a family member passed away. So they had to...
Yeah, I think it was around this time that his brother Matt, Rosie, had passed away.
So Roman Reigns had to take time off. So, boy, did they ever fucking write him off. Like, holy shit. But Braun Strowman just went on, like, a warpath on Raw, just taking everybody out. He destroyed the ring doing the superplex spot, and he fucking got up afterwards too. Like, I don't really think anyone really talks about that. He fucking destroyed the ring, and he got up. Like, not a lot of people do that. And under his own power too. It's not like he had to be stretching away. Like, he fucking walked out of it, like, pretty much indestructible. And he said that he was going to destroy Roman Reigns, and no one could control Braun Strowman. Like, GM Kurt Angle tried to control him, he just could not control him. And then we have the match. Roman Reigns comes out. He's all taped up because he's still injured from the attack. And the match starts. Roman Reigns tries to get some offense in. It looks like he's going to get some offense in on Braun Strowman. He hits a really good forearm off the steps. And then eventually Braun Strowman attacks Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns goes to hit a drive-by dropkick, and Braun Strowman grabs him by the neck and throws him back first into the ropes and throws him then, I think he hits like a running power slam like into the barricade. And then he hits a choke slam onto the German announce table onto Roman Reigns. And he just destroys Roman Reigns, targets his shoulder. Eventually, Roman Reigns mounts a comeback. He hits vicious clotheslines under Braun Strowman. And then he throws Braun into the post. He hits a drive-by dropkick. And then he hits the spear on Braun, but Braun kicks out. And then he hits a vicious Superman punches. And then eventually he actually does get him up for the Samoan drop. And there was a big struggle to it, too. It wasn't like he just got him up and did it. Like, it took him a while to do that. And then eventually Braun Strowman locks Roman Reigns into the head-on triangle choke, followed by a power slam. And Roman kicks out, and the look that Braun Strowman gets on his face, it's like the typical thing where a wrestler kicks out, but he's just like, oh, you got to kick out, huh? I'm just going to damage you more. And he just hit his finish again and just beat Roman Reigns, which I thought was awesome. And he wasn't done there, actually. Afterwards, he grabs the steps. He had to run a power slam to Roman Reigns onto the steps, and then he grabs the steps and just drops him right onto Roman Reigns. And this bleeds. Roman Reigns is coughing up blood from this and all that type of stuff. This bleeds into Raw Talk, where Roman Reigns has to get medical attention. Fit Finlay and Adam Pearce are trying to help him out. I didn't even realize Adam Pearce had been in the company this long. I thought, which is just insane to think about. But Braun Strowman tries to attack Roman Reigns again. He says, I'm not finished with you. And he runs and he completely takes off like an ambulance door. And he rolls into like a couple of boxes that were stacked up randomly backstage. And then Roman Reigns takes out Braun Strowman. He closes an ambulance door onto his shoulder, and this is how Braun Strowman got his injury. I liked all this. I would have left out the stuff on Raw Talk because I kind of thought it undid a little bit of what you did with Braun. Like, you just did this big thing with Braun, and then Roman still fights him off at the end. It's like, okay. And I could say, well, they just did that on Raw Talk, but they show it the next night, and then it was dumb to kind of book this because then Braun got injured from it, so it was kind of dumb to do that. But yeah, this was really good stuff, though. This really got Braun Strowman over. I gave the match 3.5 stars. It was really good stuff, and I thought it was just really good stuff. What did you think of this?
I give it 3.5 stars. It was really good. Braun was still built up like a fucking absolute brick shit house at this point.
Yeah.
And Vince was really behind him in his push. Something happened because it disappeared. But yeah, it was really good. This match was really, really good. I liked it.
Yeah. This is the year that Vince should have said fuck plans because he wanted to do Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. He wanted to keep the belt on Brock. He should have had Braun at least win the belt like around Survivor Series time or something. And you could have just put the belt right back on Brock, right around Mania time and stuff. Like,
yeah.
If I was booking this, I would have had Braun win it at No Mercy. Have a run with the title, and in that triple threat match, just have Braun be the champ and have Brock pin King, because that's what happened. That's what happened, anyways. Like, just because I think Braun suffered not getting the title when he was red hot. There's various people I talk about all the time that should have gotten the belts when they were red hot and all that type of stuff, and Braun's one of them because Braun not getting the belt at this time period really, I don't think it ruined him immediately, but it halted his momentum because then they started. I think we've done a career retrospective on Braun Strowman, so I'm trying to think if we have. Yeah, we have, because he's at Payback 2020. By the time he gets the belt, it's in the pandemic era, and it's kind of like after he's pissed everybody off and all that type of stuff. Now, would he have pissed people off anyways? Maybe, but at least, he would have been the champion before he can even piss anybody off and all that type of stuff. Like, this was the time he should have been the Universal Champion. Either SummerSlam or No Mercy time, he should have won the belt. But what do you think? Do you think Braun? Do you think this was the time for Braun to win the belt, or do you think they did fine?
I think he probably should have won the belt then, because he had so many lackadaisical start-stop pushes.
Yeah,
and then just totally gave up on him. I felt like right when he turned babyface after the Survivor Series in 2017, that was like, he was awesome. He was so fucking good. He was so over, and then they randomly turned him heel again to have them feud with the Shield. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's okay. So he's super over, and you're having a face Money in the Bank contract holder and a face champion, and one's over and one wasn't.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't get the chance to cash in because the Shield thwarted it. And
what you think about it? That's heel type behavior, by the way. Like, they attacked him before, that didn't even make sense. Like,
and it's just like, was it necessary? Like,
yeah.
At that point, he could have just jumped brands.
Yeah.
And gone for the other championship. Instead, now he's fighting for the Universal title, and now he has to go heel.
And then, you can't blame.
Like, short-sighted.
It really was. This just shows you. They could have planned that Roman's leukemia was going to come back, but then they had to turn him back babyface because they lost Roman Reigns, and then they still didn't put the fucking championship on him. Like,
yeah.
That just shows you.
Put the fucking nail in the coffin was when he faced Bray Wyatt. And he lost the cinematic match, and then he came back looking stupid.
And then it was yeah.
He got like really ripped and really in shape, and it kind of lost like the Braun Strowman like monster angle, monster among men, because it was like he was fucking tall. He was 300 plus pounds. Like he could fucking move with the best of them, and now it's like, looks like he's on dietary supplements here. And it's like, it's not, doesn't look intimidating anymore.
And then, I mean, I hate to say it, Roman Reigns coming back as the head of the table kind of fucked it up too, because then he basically, fell down the card pretty hard at that time.
And although now with Braun, I would say he had neck surgery for him, so he's probably going to be out for a little bit longer, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe towards the end of the year. But he was starting to look like he was rebounding.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, the tag team with Ricochet was awesome. It was going places after he said that fucking stupid thing on Instagram or Twitter about flippy guys. And then Triple H and Vince immediately put him with a flippy guy, and the tag team actually fucking worked.
Yeah, it did.
And then he got hurt. And I just hope that when he comes back that they start tagging up again, because that tag team had a lot of potential.
Yeah, definitely. In hindsight, too, this should have been... We could also talk about this I mean, obviously it wasn't going to work out. This is probably the time Roman Reigns should have done Tribal Chief, because he just beat The Undertaker at Mania in what we thought was going to be his last match. He comes out to that thunderous heel reaction, and Vince still didn't fucking turn him. Like, that didn't really, Like, this is... Like, honestly, too, it would have been huge for Raw if they had Braun as the babyface and Roman as the heel. Like, that would have been huge. Like, Tribal Chief...
They could have done something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, then again, he would have had the Usos, but that's an easy fix. You could have just moved the Usos to Raw during the Superstar shakeup, and then you could have had the Bloodline. Only thing is, Roman Reigns probably, if the way I'm booking it though is Roman Reigns wouldn't hold the belt. Roman Reigns probably wouldn't have held the belt past Mania, because Braun would have been the guy to beat him for the belt at that point, because obviously that's logical sense type of thing. So
yeah.
And again, we wouldn't get a long time with the Tribal Chief, because then, he would get his leukemia, and there's just no way he would be able to come back to be the Tribal Chief again as a heel after his leukemia announcement stuff. So, again, too, I think
way too soon for that, too.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, this was I'm just talking about at the time what we were thinking at the time, because we didn't know Roman was going to get his leukemia at the time, but this was probably the time realistically that Roman should have gone heel, probably. Because they still tried to force him as a babyface, even though he just beat The Undertaker, like one of the most popular characters in the business. And we thought we tied him at Mania, so it's like, you don't do that with anyone. Like, when Brock beat the Streak, he didn't come back as a fucking bait. Well, he kind of did, but like that's because he was doing cool shit at the time. But for the most part, he was a fucking heel right after he beat The Undertaker at Mania. So like, why would we? He just ended like one of the most popular, loved wrestling figures in the world, and he's still a babyface. Like, it's just really weird. And again, like some of this stuff we're talking about short side, like we talked about, like they turned Braun heel and paired him up with the War Dogs and stuff like that, and then, they couldn't, they wouldn't have. There's no way they would have known Roman Reigns' leukemia was going to come back, but like Braun. That's the point. That was kind of the point, though. Braun shouldn't have turned heel anyways, like type of thing. So,
yeah.
But anyhow, this was still at this moment, anyway. This was still really good stuff. But it does make it hard to watch that, like Braun never gets the belt until like years later when it was too late, type of thing. So it's one of those things. That's one of the things that sucks about retro is you got to talk about all this stuff. So, but that's the nature of the retros. So. Then before we end it off, we have some stuff that happened on Raw Talk. It was hosted by Renee Young and Jerry the King Lawler. Alexa Bliss got interviewed doing it. She was upset there was no balloons or parties for her for winning and making history, winning the Raw Women's title. And
Get over it.
And Renee Young was just like, well, we weren't really prepared and all that type of stuff. And Alexa Bliss was just like, looking at them like, you weren't prepared. You should have known I was going to make history anyways. I'm only going to make history really one at a time and all that type of stuff. And then Jerry the King Lawler asked her a question like, even though I picked you to win, I thought that elbow drop, I thought that was going to be it for you. And Alexa was like, you really thought it was going to be it after that? And Jerry the King Lawler had to save himself. Like, well, yeah, you kicked out, though. You still won the championship. And Alexa still wasn't happy with Jerry the King Lawler after that, though. And then she just kind of leaves. She just leaves because she realizes that they're not going to do a big celebration. And then Jerry the King Lawler even tried to be like, well, I can order some balloons really quick. I can, And Renee Young tried blaming Jerry the King Lawler that he didn't have that shit prepared. Like, he's like, how could I have known she was going to win the championship type of thing? It's like, even though he picked her to... I was going to say, even though he picked her to win, but let's be real. I think Jerry the King Lawler probably changed his fucking picks, like, throughout the fucking show. Like, that was happening. Like, when he mentioned the fact when he mentioned the fact, like, I bet when Bailey hit that elbow drop, he was like, oh, Bailey's winning. That's my pick now. Like, he was fucking changing his picks, like, on a fucking whim. Like... Because that's what he does. So.
Oh yeah, he's like Booker T. And make fucking mind.
I would like to see them do like a live stream where they do wrestling predictions. Like I would like them to do it every fucking day. Like the go home week of the pay-per-view, and then like they fucking do a live stream for it. I guarantee you those fucking picks would change every video they would make. Like.
Oh yeah. They make the pick, and then halfway through they go, "I'm changing my pick."
I mean, that's
the person they originally picked. To win loses.
I mean, that's what Jerry Lawler does at every Rumble. He goes, my pick.
I want to see them do a watch along during the Royal Rumble, and I want to see them make up their mind on who they're gonna have win the Royal Rumble because they're probably changed 17 times. If they pick 1 to 17 comes out, and that's Jerry Lawler's pick. And they keep getting eliminated every single time they come into the ring.
And then here's the kicker. Take a drink every time they change their pick. How many... You'd be fucking drunk. You'd be fucking...
You wouldn't even make it to the end of the match. You'd be fucking passed out.
Who do you think would change their pick more, Jerry Lawler or Booker T? Obviously, this is because I know Jerry Lawler's not doing the greatest health-wise and stuff, but this is when both of them are fully healthy and stuff like that.
I would say King, for sure. King always changes his pick.
I guarantee you...
There's no commentary for the Rumbles who would change his pick.
Yeah.
That's my pick right there, Big Show. Big Show get eliminated. That wasn't my pick.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's like, no, actually, Kane's my pick. And then Kane will get eliminated. They go, Kane wasn't my pick.
Yeah. I was just...
Can you pick someone?
He's just like, I was just kidding. I remember this year... He predicted that for the Women's Royal Rumble because I think this was right before he. No, I'm trying to think if it would have been this year because I think it was this year, right? Because I think he was on the panel because I'm pretty sure a couple of days later he has a stroke. He said that he was predicted a surprise entrant was going to win the Royal Rumble, so that way he was trying to. Because if you remember, they didn't have a lot of women announced, and he still got it fucking wrong because Rhea Ripley won the fucking Rumble anyway. He's like,
no pick change.
Do you think when they've been in the Rumble, they change the picks while they're in it?
Yes.
Because that'd be like Jerry the King Lawler doesn't even pick himself to win the Rumble. Like, I guarantee you, I know who he doesn't change his pick to. Fucking Michael Cole. He never changes it to Michael Cole. So.
If Jerry was in the Royal Rumble match, he'd turn around and look at the biggest dude and go, "That's my pick. Right there's my pick."
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, "No, that's my pick. That's my pick. Omos is my pick."
Yep. But yeah, so Jerry. Maybe that's why Jerry Lawler didn't have those balloons ready because he changed his pick right when he was about to make the purchase. So, and then changed his pick again right after that purchase was done, type of thing. So
he purchased it and he was like, "Wait a minute, it's not my pick,"
and he canceled the order. And he kept changing his mind. I bet like he had those balloons were supposed to show up, but anyhow, the end of Raw talk. Sheamus and Cesaro get interviewed, and they're watching the replay of what happened. They're like, I guess there was like video monitors in the panel type of thing, and Jerry the King Lawler was explaining it, and Sheamus and Cesaro were like, "You don't need to explain it to us. We're standing right here." But Jerry Lawler was like, "Oh, I'm explaining it to the people at home because they don't know what's going on." It's like, you don't need to explain it though. They mean nothing to us. Like, it was pretty funny, and they don't really give him much of an explanation because they were trying to save that promo of the reason on Raw. So I do have to ask, what you put him on the fucking Raw talk for if you're only gonna have him say all that much? But it's Vince, that's what he does. And they talked about how they're sick of kissing babies and hugging people and all that type of stuff. And then Jerry Lawler says that, are you going to start to act that aggressive? Because he says he's been wanting to see this aggressiveness from Sheamus and Cesaro. And he says, are you going to continue to stay that aggressive, or are you going to go back to normal? And Sheamus and Cesaro are just like, well, of course we're going to continue to do that. And they rag on King because that was a dumb question. And Kim was just like, yeah, that was a dumb question. They were even saying they were expecting that question to come from Renee Young, but it came from Jerry the King Lawler. So after they leave and stuff, they look at Jerry Lawler and there's like, next time think about your questions. And Jerry Lawler, he has to apologize about the question that he asked. Poor Ken, but again, he was probably thinking about what his next picks were going to be, type of thing. So that's why that's probably why he fucking asked a question like that. But
Somebody picks on mind and asks a stupid question.
Yeah, Raw talk was decently enjoyable. It wasn't as good as talking smack. It wasn't as good as that, but I still thought
or smacking talk.
Yeah, I still thought it was decent. Now we have to grade the show. What would you give this show as a letter grade? Because it's weird. Because I'm gonna let you start because we have one shitty match on here that probably wins the whole fucking showdown.
Just because of that match, I give it like a B-. I still think it's like a solid show. And if you take the House of Horrors match out, it's almost an A show. Yeah. Almost an A- show for me. It wouldn't go any higher than like a B+, because I don't think it was like, you have to, for my criteria, for it to be in the A's, it has to be an excellent show. This was not an excellent show. It was a very, very good show. But it's a B- hovering around a C+, just for that fucking House of Horror Bags match.
Yeah, I would say the same. It's also that match, but there's also a lot of booking decisions that don't make sense here. Like, why did Kevin Owens lose his belt if he was just gonna fucking write Jericho off anyways on Smack? And Vince knew that was gonna happen too. Like, what, did no one fucking just say, why don't you just write me off here? Like, there's no sense in me coming to SmackDown. Like, it didn't really make sense.
Yeah, it didn't, honestly.
And then the Cruiserweight title match ended on a DQ. That wasn't ideal. And then Bayley losing in her hometown. That wasn't, honestly too, Alexa Bliss could have won that belt any other time, but it had to be in her hometown, and they took the belt off Bayley too early. And then the best thing on the show, I think, is the Joe Rollins match, Strowman versus Reigns, and the Raw tag title match. Those are really the things to, you could obviously watch KO versus Jericho in the Cruiserweight title match if the finishes don't hurt you and all that type of stuff. But I give it B-, mainly for the big negatives, the House of Horror match, and just, I would say, booking decisions that really don't make any sense type of thing, I think, is the big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching this video. And yeah, anything you want to plug or promote?
No.
Yeah. As for me, you can check out the past retros. We have SummerSlam 2005, the Raw retro in the UK from 2017 that Chris Dodd and I did. We have Full Gear 2020. Good thing that match is happening because that retro would have been for nothing. And then
I just saw something went live not long ago from when we're recording this.
Okay.
NXT TakeOver London.
Okay.
It's finally.
I'm just about to
It's
say,
finally live.
Well, that was the plan was for it to come out around this time, anyways. So I had to get on him with that though. He forgot he didn't upload it, so I was like, oh shit, he didn't upload it. So, so there's that. We have Heatwave, ECW Heatwave 1998. That was a retro. Wrestle Kingdom 12. I'm trying to think. All Out 2021 should be up by the time you see this. And then what's incoming is WCW Bash at the Beach. And there's going to be some retros incoming. I'm going to go to SmackDown, like the Go Home episode before, Do you want to hear some bullshit, by the way? The week that fucking John Cena comes back to SmackDown is the day I leave for Hershey, Pennsylvania. So that's fucking bullshit. That's twice that's happened now, by the way, where I've gone to a new state, and the wrestling's been there, but I haven't been. I'm either not there yet, or I'm leaving that fucking day. That's so bullshit. Anyhow, yeah. So, we might do like a smack. We might do when that retro comes around. We might do a retro where I might I'll either pick the retro or you'll pick the retro. A retro of a wrestling event we've been to live. It has to obviously be a TV show because it's tough to do it's really tough to do a live event because it's tough to really remember everything that happened though. So
yeah,
and then depending on what happens, we might do the first Superstar Spectacle that came out back in 2021 because I think that's going to end up being a network event. I think it has.
It's not.
Oh, I think it has to
As
be.
of right now, it's not.
That's
It's just it's a glorified house show.
That's weird.
In a stadium.
That's odd.
It is very odd.
Considered
it could change between now and when that show in September goes on, but September 8th, I believe it is. But as of right now, it's not listed on Peacock, so
that's weird.
Or anywhere, so it's just a house show.
And then check out AEW Spokes and WWE Aftershocks. And that's pretty much it, guys. We will talk to you guys later.
We doing all the classics, you heard it, then I grabbed it. Flow like Method Man, then run like I'm Rabbit. Soon as I hear the bass line, it be my FaceTime. Music's in my veins, so just in case I'm without my iPod or a media player, I'll check my